3, 2, 1.
Suite du programme pédagogique de notre superstar Paul Gilbert, dont Valérie Pécresse devrait s'inspirer pour satisfaire toutes les hordes d'étudiants belliqueux qui manifestent dans la rue. Au programme ce mois-ci, les accords.
All right, this is Paul Gilbert, bonjour, and I would like to tell you about some chord things today. Of course, we're all playing guitars, and there's 6 strings, so you can play 6 notes at the same time and get a great big chord. For any beginner, this is the way I recommend starting. You know, chords sound really good. They're relatively easy to play. When I was a beginner, that's the main thing I played. I played a lot of songs, you know, Beatles tunes or whatever that would have great big chords in them, and those just still sound almost better than anything. I want to show you some ideas that I got from trying to learn piano songs, because I feel kind of a competition with piano players, because piano players have 2 hands, they can play like 2 melodies at the same time, they can play, you know, these big complicated chords, and I'm just a little guitar player, you know, trying to compete with them. So I got a lot of inspiration from piano players, and one of the things that piano players can do very easily is they can play a chord with their right hand, and then with the left hand they can change the bass note very easily, because the 2 hands aren't connected. You know, if you're a guitar player and you play a chord and you're trying to move the bass note around, you know, your fingers stuck on your hand. So it's sometimes it's a little bit challenging to get those different bass notes. But I'll show you an example of some of the things I've discovered. Let's take a D chord. Everybody knows the D chord. It's a very good sounding chord. And actually, let's play it for today. Let's try it up here in 5th position. Everybody knows this chord too. And what I want to do is I want to change the bass note. Right now the bass note is D. And that's a good note to have in your bass. It sounds good. But I want to try, for example, how about a G note in the bass instead? So I'm going to refinger this to use my second and pinky, which leaves my first finger free, to play this low G. That's sort of a more complex sounding chord. Now, if I was going to write down a symbol for that chord, I'd write the D note and put a slash and then put a G below it. When I went to school, they taught us these are called slash chords. Not Slash in Guns N' Roses, but slash as in, you know, a symbol where you can write the main chord and the bass note beneath it. So this would be D as the main chord and G as the bass note underneath. Other slash chords might be the A in the bass. You could either play that as an open string, or you could play it with your first finger. Now, a lot of these chords, if by themselves may sound, you know, not quite as strong as the root in the bass. But in the context of a cool song, these other voicings can be really, really cool. Let's try another one. This is one of my favorites, where you put the 7th, the dominant 7th in the bass, which would be C. So again, we have the D chord. I'm going to refinger it to be with my first finger and put C in the bass. That's one of my favorite sounds. I love that sound. Todd Rundgren, who is one of my favorite pop writers and musicians, uses this chord all the time. Now, as both a great chord and an amazing finger exercise, let's take these 2 fingers and let's make another chord out of this first one. So what I'm doing, again, the simple part is the 1-finger D chord. Adding the bass note C. 3rd finger is going to do the sus. And the pinky is going to do that A to B. I don't know what that is yet. I'm not smart enough. So it's basically changing it from a D over C two, that's a G chord. So this would be G over C. But they sound nice together. And it's a great finger exercise. It's not as easy as it looks. So, try this, try that little move. And that's things that piano players do all the time. So that's why I wanted to learn it, because I want to not be limited by my instrument. I want to be able to do piano things as well. Now, believe it or not, this is something that I found in piano pop songs, but I also used it in heavy metal songs. I've got some Racer X stuff where I went like... So, depending on what kind of sound and attack you can use it for pop music, you can use it for metal. A great chord is a great chord.